It was another arty party out in the Fraser Valley as the Pacific Division Final got underway. Artur Silovs and the Abbotsford Canucks blanking Colorado 2-0 to grab the series opener. Let's break it down. This is Rink Wide. And we welcome you inside the Rink Wide Studios in downtown Vancouver. What a night out in Abbotsford as the Pacific Division Final gets underway. And the Abby Canucks do it upright. They do it in style with a 2-0 shutout victory over the first-place Colorado Eagles, the only team to finish ahead of them in the Pacific Division. It was close, just a 2-point gap in the final standings, but Colorado has home ice advantage. But don't tell that to the Abbotsford Canucks because they felt that they had home ice advantage starting this series out in the Fraser Valley where 6,158 were on hand. The towels were waving, the noise was rocking, and the Abbotsford Canucks playing lockdown defense in front of Artur Silovs, who is authoring an incredible story here in these playoffs as he shuts out another opponent. It's his third shutout of the playoffs already, and in a best-of-5, getting that first one so important for the Abbotsford Canucks as they get the leg up and all of a sudden apply all kinds of pressure to the Colorado Eagles. It is Rink Wide. It's a presentation of Bet365, our Super Chat charity partner as well. And you know by now that we love the Super Chats. Your contributions always welcome in the YouTube live chat. Lots of you in there already. If you want to make a donation to the BC Mental Health Foundation, which is changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange, hit us up with a Super Chat. It'll get you to the top of the queue, and we will read your comment, your question, your thought, whatever the case, or maybe you just want to make a donation to the BC Mental Health Foundation. That is very much welcome as well. I mentioned Bet365. If you want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365, they've got you. From game props, player props, totals, the money line, you can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champs, and much, much more. Whatever the bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs, must be 19 or older. Dave Hall is back with us, and we're going to get to Dave from Canucks Army and get his thoughts on this one. He was off on assignment the last time they played, which feels like a lifetime ago. There was a week between games for the Abbotsford Canucks, took care of Coachella Valley last Friday night, and they get this Pacific Division Final up and running here on this Friday. Game 2, 6 p.m. Note the start time, 6 o'clock puck drop out at the Abbotsford Center on Sunday. We'll get to Dave Hall momentarily, but what a start to this hockey game. Bodies flying, puck seems secondary on so many shifts in the first period. Incredible intensity. The Canucks were the more physical team, but I thought that Abbotsford carried the bulk of the play in the first period. Outshot Abbotsford 7-5, nothing doing. A couple of close calls, one in the first minute of the first period, one in the final minute of the first period. And Artur Silovs was into the game early and throughout. And then in the second, I thought that Abbotsford cranked things up a little bit again, feeding off the atmosphere in the Abbey Center. Crowd was into it. And late in the second period, on a power play, it was Ty Mueller. Nice setup from Sammy Blais, who's had this incredible run in the playoffs. Adds to his point total. He's up to 9 now to lead the Abbotsford Canucks. Ty Mueller gets his first of the playoffs. Bang, bang play. And Linus Karlsson getting the other assist, 15:25, the time of that goal. So late in the second period, Abbey takes a 1-0 lead, and the game followed the same script as we show you the replay. There's Mueller in front, making no mistake, ripping it home. But this game followed the same script as the last game. The elimination game against Coachella Valley, a power play goal to give Abbotsford a 1-0 lead, and then an empty net goal late in the hockey game. And not all empty netters are created equal, let me tell you. If you have not seen the read and reaction of the defensive play by Victor Mancini, and then putting his speed on display, races up the ice, and the defenseman seals the deal into an empty net. 14th different Abbotsford player to score a goal already in this playoff run. And so Artur Silovs has been the story, but otherwise it's been balance. It has been depth. It's been next man up. All those things that served Abbotsford so well throughout the regular season. And they're doing it again here for Manny Malhotra in the playoffs. 2-0. Abby up 1-0 against the Colorado Eagles. It's a best of 5. So again, another one of these short series, not as short as the opening one, but best of 5 puts a premium on the early win and a chance to go up 2-0 on Sunday and absolutely push the Colorado Eagles to the brink of elimination. Now, they were the best home ice team in the regular season, so file that away, but the next game is going to be played here in beautiful British Columbia, and we'll see if the Abbotsford Canucks think that the score is beautiful at the end of the night on Sunday, as I'm sure they like this one. 2-0, back-to-back shutouts for Silovs, 3 now in the playoffs, 22 saves on the night as Abbotsford outshoots the Colorado Eagles by a 24-22 count. So Silovs was terrific, made some big saves. I just like the way this Abbotsford team is defending right now. I mean, they are in lockdown mode, and it helped get Jet Wu back. He was injured in Game 2 against Coachella Valley, so he missed a couple of games against the Firebirds, but boy, he was ready and got into it early with a big hit in the first period, and that got the crowd reaction as well. So a lot to like from the Abbotsford Canucks, who take the first game in this best of 5 series. We'll get to Dave Hall here momentarily. Let us remind you, if you're new to Rink Wide, hey, we're happy to have you. We've been doing this throughout, the Vancouver Canucks season, but no playoffs for the Vancouver Canucks. So we thought, hey, let's jump on the Abbotsford bandwagon, a chance for this team to push it deep into the AHL playoffs. And here they are now battling for a Pacific Division title and a spot in the Final Four, the conference final, which would be a best of 7. Yeah, you got to work hard in the AHL to get to a best of 7, but they got their hands full with the Colorado Eagles, but they get the win here. So we'll get to our 3-star selection. We'll have our stat that stands out. We'll look around the American Hockey League playoffs and bring you up to speed on what's going on in the other series that are taking place as well. And we'll keep our eyes on the live chat. Lots of you in there. And I see Cambies wants me to grow a Fraser Valley mullet for this Abbotsford team. He was on me to grow a mullet in the regular season for the Canucks. Didn't happen. In fact, I just got my hair cut the other day. So no mullets coming here. A playoff beard, maybe, would take some work on my part. But whatever the case, we'll get to all of our usual features as we move along here. Before we get to Dave Hall, however, I do want to mention that this segment is a presentation of the Pacific Toyota dealers, who want me to tell you about the Toyota BZ4X, a 100% electric vehicle. Looked like it was 100% electric in the Abbey Center tonight. It's backed by the peace of mind of knowing that it is a Toyota, and that spark of joy you get when you pass a gas station, knowing that you don't have to stop. There's the added perk of being able to access HOV lanes when driving an EV, even when you're alone in the vehicle. And we tell you all the time about all the cargo space, capacity for the kids and their sporting equipment and camping gear and dogs, you name it. You can get it in the BZ4X, and it can handle any terrain, so it can take you from the city to the slopes or wherever your life takes you. When you choose the BZ4X, you can get $5,000 in incentives, and now you can finance the 2025 BZ4X LE all-wheel drive from 0.99% APR for 36 months. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer. All right, he is back on the program, and we are delighted to have him from Canucks Army, Dave Hall, joining us once again here on Rink Wide. Hey, Dave, good to see you again. Thanks for doing this. And all we do is talk about Arthur Silov's shutouts on the and that's okay. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference, right? He seems, say what you will about him in the regular season, but he seems to be a big game performer. Obviously we saw what he did with Team Latvia. We know what he did last year with Vancouver Canucks, and now he's doing it again with Abbotsford. It's been an incredible run. 3 shutouts, 2 consecutive, and now he's only allowed 1 goal or less in 7 of his last 10 starts. So, I mean, what else do you really say? He's been the star of the playoffs, and it's great to see, and it's good for the Canucks goaltending depth right now.
1 goal against in his last 4 at home. 75 of the last 76 pucks that he's faced, he has managed to keep out of his net. Now, there were some close calls, including one off the stick of former Canuck Jason Magna just 22 seconds into the hockey game. Guillaume Brisebois, who's been so good, an uncharacteristic turnover puts it right on the stick of Magna. And at this level, Jason Magna knows how to score goals. And Silov stared him down, made the stop, but I think served notice right then and there, 22 ticks into this hockey game, that he was dialed in and it was going to be difficult to beat him.
Yeah, I mean it's a great way to start. After a week off, it's a nice way to start. 22 seconds in, a point blank save, and it's not just that one. He's had to do that quite a few times in this playoffs. Like Abbotsford's defense has played fantastic, so this isn't a knock on them. But there has been some times where they've given up some defensive some giveaways, and he's had to make quite a few point blank saves, just like that one that you're referring to. So credit to him. He's stood tall and he's really kept them in there as much as this defense has been fantastic.
No goals to talk about in that first period, but lots of things to talk about. My goodness. And it's playoff hockey. Look, the both teams are good. There's no feeling out process here. They saw each other 8 times in the regular season, separated by 2 points in the overall standings. So not a lot to choose. And so both teams wanted to be physical. I thought Abby, and no surprise here, it was Sammy Blais just knocking Eagles down like bowling pins, finishing every check. Jet Wu letting everybody know that he was back in the lineup as well. The big hit on Fellahaber, the hip check. You don't see that often in hockey, but man, took him down along the right side boards. There were a bunch of big hits, including one by Jacob McDonald on Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, and I was a little worried that he may not get up, so it was good to see that he popped right back to his feet there. But yeah, it felt like playoff hockey.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't track hits in the American Hockey League, but that had to have been one of the nastiest ones you'll see out there. To be quite honest, just in all 3 periods, that was a nasty game. And as you mentioned, it started off with Sammy Blais with 2 big hits and one. Actually, I believe he had 2 shifts where he had 2 massive hits in each. If my count was correct, I believe he had 5 hits in that first period. So it's been him all playoffs long when he's trying to get the team going. It's been Sammy Blais. But as you mentioned, it was great to have Jet Wu back. He was playing great hockey before he got injured, and he put himself right into that game. And if this game serves anything, it's just going to be a nasty series. I know at the very end, Linus Karlsson took a few penalties, but there was one where him and Callie Rosen were going at it in the corner for well over 25 seconds. I clipped it because it was
standing over them,
just standing there, and I clipped it. It was a 25-second clip. So at this point, I don't know what they have to do to get a penalty, but apparently it was that. It was a 25-second cross-checking. So yeah, physical game, playoff hockey, and it's the 3rd round, so it amps up now. But it's going to be fun.
Remain scoreless well past the middle stages of the second period, and then Abbotsford got the opportunity. It was like Lecker-Mackey draws the penalty. I mean, I was a little worried. It was a pretty good slash by Amat on Lecker-Mackey, and so clearly Lecker-Mackey in some pain, but paying a price, takes the hit, gets the penalty, and Abbotsford goes to work on the power play. The power play has been really good for them throughout the playoffs. Penalty kill has been lights out good. I mean, spectacularly good, and it was again tonight, including with 3 minutes to go in a 1-0 hockey game. But let's just talk about the one goal in the run of play, and that was the power play goal by Ty Mueller, his first of the playoffs, from Blais, from Karlsson. Starts with a face-off win in the offensive zone and a couple of great holds to keep the puck in zone to allow Abbotsford to eventually work it down low, and then Blais in front, and Mueller made no mistake.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it might not get seen in the clips, but Mancini did make a few really good keep ins to keep that play alive, and without him, that goal doesn't happen. So he won't get credit with any sort of he gets the 3rd assist there, but and you got to give credit to I guess I'm part of his fan club this whole playoffs, but Sammy Blais, you got to give it up to him. He makes a nice look there to find Ty Mueller all alone, and good for Ty Mueller. I thought not last game, but the game obviously I missed last game, but the other game I thought Ty Mueller had a good game, but I thought tonight was probably Ty Mueller's best game, pound for pound, and of course that just helps when you score your first playoff goal. But great for them. That was a big momentum boost after a bit of a slow first, and even a slow first, like I'd say 6 minutes to that second period. So that goal really kicked things going, and obviously they never looked back.
Yeah, I thought Abbotsford sort of swung the tide in that second period. Wu in the slot. Right after some pressure from Sammy Blais and his line, Wu had a great look, and Trent Miner made one of his better stops there. And then Akito Hiroshi finds Jujhar Khaira all alone in behind the defense, and got a piece of the bar. Unfortunately, close doesn't count, but there were those opportunities for Abbotsford that weren't there in the first period, and it sort of felt like momentum was on their side, and then eventually they get the power play and they cash in.
Yeah, that was exactly it. That Jujhar Khaira chance that was so close. I thought that was going in, but yeah, like I said, I just thought they looked a little, I don't want to say slow because they were hitting everything, so they had that going for them. I just didn't think they were generating much, and obviously the shots showed that, but even just scoring chances, there just wasn't much. And so that Khaira one was, I thought that might have been a dagger. Obviously it was early in the second period, but it was just nice to get them going. And once they scored that goal, it just seemed like they really took things off in the second, and then in the third period they did what the Abbotsford Canucks have done since January in the third period, and that's just shut things down. And we were a little worried that they might sit back, but I thought they had some really good chances in the third as well. So I think they continued to press. Obviously they didn't score any goals except for that empty net goal, but I thought they did a good job after that goal. So
yeah, Max Sasson on the 3-on-1 setup. A terrific defensive play by Jonathan Lekkerimäki, and yes, you want him to score goals, and yeah, you want him to be a volume shooter. But if it's not happening for him at the offensive the end of the ice, then I'll take a defensive play like that for Lekkerimäki to shake his man, get the puck into the neutral zone. Sasson skates onto it with speed. I would like to have seen Max do a little bit more with the opportunity there on a 3-on-1, but still a sequence that led to a really good scoring chance. And again, Trent Miner's there to make stops and made that one and kept it at a 1-0 hockey game. But that and Arshdeep Bains with the spitorama 4-on-4 there on the backhand. I actually thought Bains, look, we've talked about Arshdeep, and yes, they need more from him eventually, but I noticed him tonight. I thought just sort of the veteran savvy. There were moments I thought he skated miles in the hockey game, and you want to see him get one that might lead to a bunch for him at this level. Who knows? But this wasn't a night where I'm picking apart his game. I thought I noticed him for the right reasons for much of the night.
Yeah, I mean, eventually that monkey is going to have to get off, and we're going to finally be able to talk about the goal he scored. And he came so close. That's one of those moves that you would hoped that it would go in. If it did, that was on the TSN highlight reel. It was a beautiful play, and yeah, I agree. I'm glad you mentioned the feet, because I thought he was going all night. Typically, I say that about Max Sasson, and I thought Arshdeep Bains was probably one of the faster guys on the ice tonight. He just seemed to have that extra gear, and obviously it's nice when you're playing with guys like Max Sasson and Jonathan Lekkerimäki, so you stand out and you're playing a lot of minutes. But I thought he had a good game. It's just eventually we're going to have to see him get in on the score sheet, but he did have a couple looks, and none better than that third period spinorama. Boy, what a move.
You talk about the third period. Colorado had 6 shots on goal with a power play and with the goaltender pulled. Like I thought that was textbook defending. And you're right. Like we were messaging in between periods, and I was like, I hope they don't sit on a 1-0 lead. I don't think they did at all. I thought they were in lockdown mode. You can see it's a confident bunch. I thought Akito Hirose was really good in this hockey game. Guillaume Brisebois, obviously getting Jet Wu was back. I know Christian Wolanin was skating at practice all week. Like, who would come out of the lineup? Would it be Kudryavtsev if they elect to get Wolanin back? But Kudryavtsev, I mean, he was terrific in the last round. I didn't notice him as much in this hockey game, but talk about depth on defense and options for the coaching staff. If Christian Wolanin is close, is it automatic that a veteran guy like that gets plugged back into the lineup?
It's true, and even Cole McWard, who I think we both agreed was not bad, just a little quiet in the first round, but even he's looked really good. He had a really nice reverse hit tonight, and he's made his typical steady Eddie stuff. He's just been good defensively, but I got to give flowers to a guy like Akito Hirose, who I think a lot of people, he hasn't been talked about a lot, and obviously he's dealt with some injury problems. There was, some. Whether he showed up to camp in shape, quote unquote, or not, there's just been a lot of talk in more to the negative, but he's been very steady in the back. And I think he's been one of those unsung heroes on the defensive end. And I think if you were to look at the minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there in the minutes in comparison. But you're right. At this point, who do you take out? Like I said, Hirose's been great. It's going to be a tough decision. I ultimately, it may just have to be Kudryavtsev, even though he's, on their second power play unit and, penalty kill. And he's kind of just one of those guys that you don't see a lot, but he's always typically doing the right things. So it's going to be an interesting conversation, but we'll see when that happens anyway. But
Yeah, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, and Manny Malhotra may not want to mess with a winning combination. And right now, everybody's pulling on the rope. Just the way that they are playing defensively. And again, Artur Silovs is the last line of defense. He's doing his job, but you held the highest scoring team in the American Hockey League to 22 shots on goal. That's a team shutout as much as it is an Artur Silovs shutout. And, it goes down to the wire. It's still a 1-0 hockey game. Colorado, they've got weapons. They're one shot away. And what a play by Victor Mancini to disrupt the offensive foray from the Colorado Eagles and then rush up ice. Like, put all the skills, the defending, his speed, and, he gets in on the scoring as well. And, yeah, it's an empty netter, but, it's another guy finding the back of the net here for this team. It's 14 different players, Dave, in the playoffs that have scored at least one goal for the Abbotsford Canucks.
Yeah, and that's a huge play. I know there's only 10 seconds left, but the Eagles were pressing, and there was a moment there where it almost just felt, following the Canucks, it's felt like that, one of those classic last minute breakdowns where you just kind of felt that Colorado might get that equalizer. And so for him to make that read, that real quick read, and use his skating to kind of get that extra step and just break it up, that was just a tremendous play by him. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's coming from all angles. Even the fourth line forward group, with Nielsen, Cam Bites, they're pressing in with the hits. And so, like, whether it's points or not, or hits, whatever it is, block shots, I thought some of the block shots tonight were incredible. They were giving out the body left, right, and center. And so, whether it's the block shot, whether it's the hit, or whether it's that nice goal, they're getting chip ins from all angles, whether it's forward group, defense, or goaltending. So right now, this is just a hot team that's figuring it all out at the right time. Well, I mean, I guess they've been figuring out since January, really, but they're on a run right now. It's been an incredible effort from everyone.
Yeah, and it was fun to see that atmosphere. I know we talked early in the playoffs that you would like to see a few more people. I think now baseline is set there that they're going to get between 6,000 and 7,000. Tonight it was 61,58. So there were a few tickets available, but for the most part, it was full. It looked full. It sounded, the towels were going. They're building something good, and I imagine it'll be the same on Sunday night. And in these shorter series, like, what an opportunity now. You get the first one, you apply the pressure right away. And yeah, you're going to have to win at least one in Colorado's building. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast here. But I like this Abbotsford's team's chances if they head south with a 2-0 series lead. And by the time we're doing this on Sunday night, that may be the position they find themselves in.
Yeah, exactly. If they can come up with a 2-0 lead, I'm trying to think of, I'm not looking at the stats right in front of me, but I'm trying to think of the last time they lost 3 games in a row. I know there's been a few back-to-back games, and so to lose 3 in a row, that's been tough for them. So you're right. Like, if they could win, that would be huge. They have to do it in the away barn, but it would be just such a huge advantage. And right now, there's no one more confident than Artur Silovs. So let's hope they can get that done on Sunday.
Well, we've covered a fair bit of ground here. It's the goaltender, but it's obviously the 18 skaters in front of them. There's nobody that's not holding their own or doing their job, and so they're dialed in right now. And credit to Manny Malhotra and his coaching staff. In the last week, there were some distractions with Manny's name being in the running for the head coaching job with the Vancouver Canucks. We know that's been filled, so now Manny can fully focus. Not that he wasn't, but that storyline has disappeared. It is all about getting team buy-in, and it's pretty clear that he's got it from his troops. So, we've had some people in the chat wondering about Aatu Räty. There doesn't seem to be any sort of update there. He hasn't been practicing this week, but Wu and Wolanin both were. Lekkerimäki's back after missing a handful of games. We talked, again, I want to see more from him. But they're winning hockey games, so this isn't probably the night to go down that road. But, we've talked about this too, that, in some ways, knowing that you've got Arshdeep Bains in reserve or a Jonathan Lekkerimäki who's capable of turning a game on his own, and those guys really haven't done a whole lot. Hey, Sunday night's another opportunity, and maybe that's the storyline that emerges on Sunday. So let's see what happens. Cody Sievertson in the chat saying February of 2025, the last 3-game losing streak. So obviously they haven't lost. I mean, they had the incredible win streak that was halted with a shootout loss and then a regulation loss. That was 2 in a row. But look, the way that they're playing right now, if they can get a 2-0 lead, it's absolutely in their hands at that point. So we'll be tracking it. We'll be doing this. It's good to get you back. Were you watching from afar, even though you weren't with us on the program last Friday night?
Of course, yeah. And I was staying up late, but gotta love that Eastern Zone time. But and I hope I don't. I hope you may talk about this, so I apologize. But one thing I meant to bring up was just their incredible penalty kill. They had the penalty kill with 3 minutes left. Linus Karlsson took what I thought was a bit of a soft roughing call with 3 minutes left in the third period, and they go on and kill their 23rd consecutive penalty kill in this playoff. So they're the only team other than the Calgary Wranglers who only played 2 games in this postseason to not allow a goal on the penalty kill, and so that's been just a huge storyline in this entire playoffs.
No, terrific shout. It was kind of curious the way Colorado, power play with 3 minutes to go in one of the game. I thought they might get the goaltender out to go 6-on-4. Of course, the Canucks shorthanded then can just fire at the empty net, and so it's sort of that balance. They waited till there were only a handful of moments left in the power play to get the goaltender on the bench, and then ultimately it was Mancini at 19:55, so 5 seconds left on the clock when Victor Mancini went coast to coast to put a dagger in the Colorado Eagles. All right, Dave, great to have you back, and this has been a ton of fun. Already looking forward to Sunday. It's a 6 o'clock start, so if it ends in regulation, we'll be on a little earlier. I had overtime in the back of my mind here, but clearly the Abbotsford Canucks wanted no part of overtime, and so they took care of business, and they get it done with a 2-0 victory. We will look forward to the Farmies at Canucks Army. I know that Cody had you covered while you were away, but you're back on that task as well.
Yeah, I'll be hitting the keyboard pretty quick here, and it should be out shortly. And yeah, make sure for everyone watching, make sure you look at the schedule because it is a bit of a weird one once it goes over to Colorado. So we've got some weird times to meet up, Jeff, but it'll be fun nonetheless.
Awesome. Dave Hall from Canucks Army, regular here with us throughout this playoff run, and he'll be back on Sunday. So we'll talk to you then, Dave.
See you then, Jeff.
All right, Dave Hall. You can check out the Farmies at Canucks Army, and he's not wrong here. Sunday's a 6 o'clock start. If this thing goes the distance, if it goes all 5 games, Game 5 would be played on Memorial Day Monday in the U.S. We've got our long weekend here. They've got Memorial Day. It would be a mid-afternoon start Pacific time. So holiday hockey. And look, we'll do rink wide, whatever. If they play into the middle of the night, we'll do rink wide then too. But just note that Game 5, the start is the middle of the afternoon. So rink wide would be on late afternoon into the early evening. All right, it's time for the 3 stars. They are a presentation of Greta Bar YVR, and our great friends at Greta Bar were terrific hosts all season long for our Canucks Army watch parties. All of those big screens, not a bad seat to be had. The arcade games, you can order off the terrific new street food menu. They got weekly drink specials as well. Greta Bar, the place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. No doubt about the first star. Basically locked in here on Rink Wide. It seems like every game. But that's what happens when you just keep pitching shutouts like Artur Silovs is the first star in this hockey game, makes 22 saves for the shutout, his 3rd of these playoffs. Ty Mueller with the 1-0 goal on the power play, his first of the postseason, also had 3 shots, also winning big faceoffs. In fact, on the penalty kill, took the draw, won it, got off the ice, and was replaced by others who did the bulk of the penalty killing, but starts with a faceoff win. So Ty Mueller, what a rookie season for him. And yeah, a little love for Trent Miner, who spent all those years with the Vancouver Giants, so back in familiar territory. He was good. It's just that the guy at the other end was a little bit better. Silovs with a 22-save shutout. Trent Miner ends up making 22 saves on the night. So there are the 3 stars, a presentation of Greta Bar YVR. All right, we had a super chat, and I told you right off the top that we encouraged super chats here. Hugo Mugo says, thanks for doing this. Love the post-game show. Hey, we love doing it. This is a ton of fun. And we hope that Abbotsford was going to go on a lengthy playoff run. And we thought, you know what? There is going to be buy-in that so many guys that touched the NHL in this organization playing. Manny was still in the mix for the head coaching job, so we were keeping an eye on him and watching games sort of through that lens as well. And so, yeah, like we're enjoying this. It's clear from the numbers that people are buying into what we're selling here at Rink Wide, and that there is a thirst and an appetite for some post-game coverage of the Canucks farmhands doing their things. Willie the Scotsman says, let's go. Best wishes from Cambodia. Go, Abby, go. Watching from Vietnam. That's from Thailand, Canuck. And so, we're getting people. We're not doing Rink Wide worldwide, but apparently we are big worldwide, and so is the interest in the Vancouver Canucks and their top American Hockey League farm team. Will Jet Wu get re-signed? Yeah, probably. He's been a pretty loyal member of the organization. Like Guillaume Brisebois, still hasn't cracked the National Hockey League roster yet. But at this level, just rock solid physical force. And we talked about the scoring chance that he had in the second period. On that 3-on-1 in the third, he races up ice as well. Like, he was the passing option if Sasson had elected to slip it across. It wasn't another forward. It was Jet Wu that was going hard to the net. So, we'll see where it goes. But, I wouldn't be surprised if the Canucks had interest in bringing him back. I don't know if he will want to explore other options, or if, he sees a logjam ahead of him with Mancini now and Tom Willander signed. This idea of him cracking the NHL roster, like, they'd have to get pretty deep on the right-hand side for Jet Wu. So I don't know if that NHL option is going to come in this organization. But at this level, he's terrific, and they missed him. Even though they did shut out Coachella Valley in the last game, still, you see it's infectious when you get a big hitter like Jet Wu back in the lineup, and he asserts himself early in the hockey game. He was noticeable. So I thought a nice night for him and all the guys on defense, obviously, and really all the skaters in front of Artur Silovs. It was, as we said, this was a team shutout. All right, our stat that stands out. We always try to come up with something from the hockey game or something that comes out of the hockey game. Our stat that stands out is a presentation of Resurrection Spirits. And right now we're telling you about Bogey Juice. Major going on in the golf world. There were some bogeys I was watching, some double bogeys and others. Saw a hole in one as well. But Bogey Juice is crafted with a tantalizing blend of crisp apple flavoring and kickin' ginger for that refreshing zing. Every shot of Bogey Juice like a hole in one for your taste buds, and who wouldn't want that? Sweetened to perfection with simple syrup, made even smoother with top shelf vodka. It's the only juice that's guaranteed to make your golf buddies beam with envy, despite the score it refers to. And you can check out bogeyjuice.com for more info, and you can use promo code SP15 for 15% off Bogey Juice product and merchandise. All right, the stat that stands out, the updated numbers for Artur Silovs here in the American Hockey League playoffs, and you can see on the screen, if you are following along, the save percentage. That works. .942 save percentage at playoff time. Like, he is dialed in, and a goals against average, this is updated now after this shutout. So he's played 8 games, got the hook in 1 against Coachella Valley, but a goals against average of 1.50, a save percentage of .942. He is 6-1 in terms of wins and losses, and 3 of those 6 victories coming by way of shutouts. So Artie is doing his part. As we said, it was another Artie party, and hopefully there were a few more out in the Fraser Valley. Too late to run for office? I guess we're through election season, so he can concentrate on being a goaltender. But the 942 is the one that jumps off the page. That is definitely a stat that stands out. So let's see what happens on Sunday as they get right back at it. This is a tight game, obviously. This Colorado team can score. They were the highest scoring team in the American Hockey League in the regular season. So, factor that in. That's how impressive the effort was, but that's also how talented this Colorado team is. And they won't take this loss lightly, and they recognize that they don't want to go back home down 0-2 in this series, even though they were the best team in the American Hockey League on home ice. So they've got that in their back pocket, but the way this Abbotsford team is going, it doesn't seem to matter whether they're home or away. They are just dialed in and getting it done and playing terrific playoff hockey. So it's fun to watch. People are buying in, and we're having a good time here doing it on Rink Wide. And as Dave pointed out as well, this penalty kill, like, come on, off the charts 23 for 23. We did a lot of rink wides during the Vancouver Canucks season and talked about the strength and, how they took a weakness and turned it into a strength. And you credit the players and the coaching staff for putting the system in place. And yeah, you need goaltending. Abbotsford, I mean, if that's the checklist, check, 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 check. They're just doing it all. And when Linus Karlsson gets tagged for roughing, and a little on the soft side maybe, but he pops a guy at the side of the net, referee's looking, you put the ref in a position to make a call, and the referee elected to make the call. And so all of a sudden, now Abbotsford's killing a penalty with 3 minutes to go, and Abbotsford just kept them to the perimeter, seemed happy to have them out there on the outside, took away the passing lanes, that backdoor play or looking to pop it into the middle. It really was just lock it down, terrific penalty kill, and ultimately they able to get it done, and that's 23. They were 3 for 3 on the night, so 23 out of 23 now, and they scored a shorthanded goal earlier in the playoffs, so their penalty kill is still a net +1 this deep into the playoffs, 8 playoff games in, and their penalty kill is a net +1. So pretty impressive stuff. That would be a stat that stands out, but we elected to go with one from Arturs Silov. So that he's getting the start. I don't know if there'll be any lineup changes, as I said. Why would you mess with the winning formula and a combination that Manny Malhotra has going right now? So something tells me that the 18 skaters they used, unless somebody didn't get through this game healthy, but, we'll have to wait and see. And it is hard to get a lot of lineup info at this level and at this time of the year. So I don't imagine that Abbotsford's going to be announcing injuries if there were any. And that's why we don't really have much of an update on Aatu Räty right now. But it's unfortunate. Again, make a good team that much better if you get Aatu Räty back at some point. And the deeper they go, longer he will have to recover. You hope that we see Aatu Räty back in their lineup again. Jimmy in the chat saying Sammy Blais should have been the third star, but he's biased. Look, you can pick a bunch of guys. Sammy Blais has been incredible in these playoffs. His consistency, he's basically doing what Kiefer Sherwood did for the Vancouver Canucks in just hitting everything that moves every night, hasn't taken nights off or shifts off, setting the tone, and then he's doing it offensively as well. Now, most of his points in the playoffs have come on the power play, and that's not a knock. Power play is deciding games for them. But 5-on-5, if there's one area that I think Abbotsford can and probably will have to be better as the playoffs move along here, it's 5-on-5. That they have been successful on the power play. We've talked about the penalty kill. Power plays won them a bunch of games. The last 2 games have been 2-0 finals where the 1-0 and the game-winning goal was scored on the power play. So, but they're not giving up anything. So right now they take that 5-on-5, it's a push, and they're winning games with special teams. Hey, at playoffs, it's fine. That's a totally legitimate blueprint to success. But there will be some nights where the other team scores, I think. There'll be other nights where teams score 5-on-5, and Abbotsford's going to have to find a way to generate a little bit more 5-on-5 as well. Victor Wong in the chat asking the right defense at the NHL level next season. Hronek, Myers, and then question mark. He says, who slots in for most of next season, Mancini or Willander? Mancini obviously has pro experience, both the NHL and the AHL. Looks really good in the American Hockey League. Far more dynamic, and that makes sense. He's given a little more leash, I think, in the NHL. He's trying to play cautious and not make mistakes. And you see that the raw tools are there. Looks like a whole lot more than just a throw-in in the JT Miller deal. But Willander's got the pedigree as a first-rounder. And I would think that Tom Willander probably slots in ahead of Mancini right now on the depth chart, and that's sight unseen at the NHL level. So we'll have to see. Big summer, obviously, for Willander. Big summer for a lot of guys. But Mancini's going to continue to work on his game and, plays like that. The fact that he's out there protecting the lead late and then making the play that he did, that's going to get the attention of the new coaching staff, management, and all that kind of stuff. So a nice night for Mancini, who's been really good in the playoffs, and all the defenders have. Again, there's just it's hard to find guys that aren't contributing or pulling their weight for the Abbotsford Canucks right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a battle to watch come playoff or come training camp is how that all shakes down. All right. The Abbotsford Canucks are 2 wins away from a spot in the Western Conference Final, the Final Four of the American Hockey League. So we're at a point in time now where absolutely legit to start looking at the out-of-town scoreboard and seeing what's going on around them in these Calder Cup playoffs. Texas leads Milwaukee 1-0 in the other Western matchup. So the winner of that series will play the winner of this Abbotsford, Colorado. So those are the 4 teams left in the West, Texas and Milwaukee. So the Dallas Stars and the Texas Stars both live. Charlotte has a 1-0 lead on Hershey, and they will play the second game of their series tomorrow. Texas and Milwaukee go at it again on Sunday. The other Eastern Series, Laval, which finished atop the AHL regular season standings. Laval and Rochester are in a 1-1 tie. And it's interesting to note, obviously, the Abbotsford Canucks with Vancouver Canuck prospects. We talked about Jason Magna, no longer a Vancouver Canuck prospect, but once upon a time, a Vancouver Canuck. There are a bunch of familiar names still alive in the playoffs, even as we're whittling this thing down to just 8 teams. Jack Rathbone, remember him? Plays for Rochester. Will Lockwood is in Charlotte. Cole Lind is a member of the Texas Stars now. And Mark Friedman, who started the season here in the Canucks organization, played in Vancouver and in Abbotsford, and then got dealt to Nashville. Well, Nashville's farm team is Milwaukee, and they're still alive. So if the Canucks advance, they're going to see either Cole Lind or Mark Friedman in the next round of the playoffs. And when Friedman got dealt, I don't imagine that he envisioned a scenario where he would be back in these parts. And it's quite possible that it could happen. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Some things would have to fall that way to make that become a reality. The reality of the situation is that the Abbotsford Canucks were a slightly better team than a good Colorado club and eked out a 2-0 victory. And so they're up 1-0 in this best of 5 with game 2 set for Sunday night, 6 o'clock. A reminder of the earlier start time, 6 o'clock on Sunday from the Abbotsford Center. And then we'll be on afterwards with another episode, another edition of Rink Wide, breaking it all down and getting you set as the series will then shift to Loveland, Colorado, which is the home of the Colorado Eagles. Now we're outside of Denver. So, yeah, one more to go here at the Abbey Center and then south of the line for the duration of the series. Well, the Abbotsford Canucks are doing their thing out in the Fraser Valley. The Vancouver Canadians are at home out at the Nat here on the long weekend. Games on Saturday and Sunday against the Everett Aqua Sox. On Saturday, the Seas host Women in Sport Day with a special appearance by Sportsnet's Hazel May. We'll see if she gets dunked by the Gatorade bucket. That seems to happen just about every Blue Jay game I watch. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully that they treat her well. I'm sure they will. And Sunday is another White Spot Family Fun Day. And you bring the kids. They can run the bases post-game. Always a great day on a Sunday afternoon at the Nat. For full schedule and for tickets, check out CanadiansBaseball.com. All right. Off and running. Once again, the layoff didn't really hurt the Abbotsford Canucks. It is kind of funny that this Colorado team won the Pacific in the regular season and by virtue of that got a bye. So didn't play in the shortened first round and then took care of San Jose in round 2. Colorado's played 4 hockey games coming into tonight. This was their 5th game then in the last month. So, yeah, you get the benefit of rest and recovery, but you can see that this Abbotsford team is sharpening itself every night out. Colorado just hasn't played a lot of hockey. So maybe they got a little rust off and will come back. I would expect that they'll be better on Sunday, but hey, maybe Abbotsford will be as well. We'll find out. That's the beauty of hockey at this time of the year. Playoff hockey, you got to love it. And certainly it feels like a lot of people are digging what the Abbotsford Canucks are selling these days. So lots of good stuff, lots of good storylines, lots to like about this Abbotsford Hockey Club and the way that they're dialing it in. We'll see if they can do it again before they pack up the bags and move on for the remainder of the series. Hey, before we run, I do want to take a moment here and thank Jacob Fraser and Keenan Tregaskis, a couple of BCIT interns that are coming to the end of their time here with us at Rink Wide and Under the Nation Network banner, and they've been terrific to work with and get to know a little bit. And they allowed Jacob Lazar, the usual producer, he gets executive producer status for this one, sitting back, feet up on the couch. He was watching hockey. He was ordering these guys around. They're running this show tonight. It's their show, and they're doing a terrific job. And so thanks to the other Jacob and to Keenan as well. And best of luck as you move on beyond BCIT, and hopefully we see you around here and get a chance to work together again. But I certainly wanted to shout them out as well before we run. Thanks again for the Super Chat, our charity partner, the BC Mental Health Foundation, and we'll be looking for more of your Super Chats coming up on our next episode of Rink Wide on Sunday. Artur Silovs, 22 saves for the shutout. Ty Mueller with his first of the playoffs. That was on a power play in the second period. Victor Mancini racing up ice into the empty net, his first of the playoffs as well. 2-0 the final. Abbotsford with a 1-0 series lead on Colorado, 6 p.m. Sunday at the Abbey Center, and then we're on right after the final buzzer. So hopefully you'll join us then. Enjoy your long weekend. In the meantime, that is going to do it for us here at Rink Wide.